Rock music is a language, and Mike Naumenko mastered it perfectly. He was one of the first to perceive not only the rhythm, energy, and melody of rock, but also its spirit and poetics. He transferred these poetics to his native Russian language, and his songs have become rock standards, the lyrics of which are known to every Russian-speaking rock and roll lover. But few people know about Mike himself. He did not give many interviews during his lifetime. This film is dedicated to the memory of the musician, and will tell the story of Mike's life with the help of his words, music, and drawings.
I'm not one of the first ones. I started, I think, in 1977. It was underground from one point of view, but it was rather free. That's a strange thing. The situation somehow changed. There were more difficulties with authorities. Then it all turned to rock club.
Я хожу в рок-клубе так много хороших групп. Я гордо вхожу с билетом в руке, а мне поют песни на родном языке. Я люблю аквариум, я люблю зоопарк, я люблю секрет, я люблю странные игры, я люблю кино, я не люблю землян, я люблю только любительские группы.
Mike Naumenko's favorite writer was Richard Bach. Mike even translated his novel Illusions into Russian. Mike also loved Lou Reed, Mark Bolan, and Chuck Berry. Their songs were an inspiration for Mike, and he brilliantly turned their imagery into classics of Russian rock.
Everything is influence. You look out of your window and maybe there's a song in the window. But I always liked Josip Brodsky, Russian poet who is Greekist. I liked Машина времени, Aquarium, of course. I always liked the bad films. Too many influences. From Chuck Berry to Josip Brodsky.
Субботний вечер, и вот опять я собираюсь пойти потанцевать, я надеваю штиблеты и галстук, шнурок. Я собираю свою дверь на висящий замок. На улице стоит ужасная жара, но я буду танцевать буги-вуги до утра, ведь я люблю буги-вуги. Я люблю буги-вуги. Я люблю буги-вуги. Я люблю буги-вуги. Мы любим буги-вуги, мы танцуем буги-вуги каждый день.
Mike and his group Zoo Park recorded 6.5 albums. His first was a joint effort with Boris Grebenshchikov. Together, they came up with the underground album format. Rock was banned in the Soviet Union, and Mike and his friends had to record their music at night in semi-professional studios, draw and glue covers for their reel and cassette albums themselves, together with photographer Willy Usov, and distribute them to the people. Strangely enough, it worked, and as a result, their recordings reached the most distant regions of the USSR. In the mid-80s, perestroika began and the underground ended. Mike's last 2 albums officially sold millions of copies on vinyl. His last album was released posthumously after his death in 1991 at the age of 36.
I think we're just a rock and roll band. We play the blues, we play rock and roll. Maybe we sound a bit like Rolling Stones. A bit. As for words, I think I sang about what is here and now. All situations, maybe dirty situations, maybe clean situations, maybe love, maybe some craziness, maybe some hang-ups. Everything that is here and now.
Я сижу в сортире и читаю Rolling Stone. Венечка на кухне разливает самогон. Вера спит на чердаке, хотя орет магнитофон. Ее давно пора будить, но это будет моветон. Дождь идет второй день, нужно спать, но спать лень. Хочется курить, но не осталось папирос. Я боюсь спать, наверное, я трус. Денег нет, зато есть пригородный блюз.
Well, I would say that Eastern music is much less commercial. We do just what we like to do, and no one tells us what to do. A lot of differences. We're limited. We have not 1,000 synthesizers and 2 Gibsons and Fenders, we play on rather cheap guitars. We don't have that recording facilities that they have in the West. We just like what we do. I think that I can honestly say that everything I ever wrote, it was very honest. I didn't ever write a commercial song that it would go to the charts or will be played on television or on radio and so on. Everything I ever wrote is very honest.
Mike rhymed reality with humor and sarcasm. His songs were called Punk Blues, an encyclopedia of Leningrad life, and an introductory course in psychology. His frankness often caused arguments among his listeners, sometimes even leading to fights.
Ты прячешь деньги на булавке, ты их тратишь на своих друзей. Слава Богу, у таких, как ты, не бывает детей. Ты хочешь, чтоб все было по первому сорту, но готов ли ты к 502-му аборту, ты дрянь?
It's good. It's good that it is released in the West. That people of the West would be have a chance to be acquainted with our music. It's of course it's good, but I wonder they've got a whole lot of their own music. Why they should be interested in some guys from Leningrad, 10,000 miles away, are playing their rock and roll? Then there's a barrier about language. The words mean much more in our songs, I mean in Russian groups, than in Western groups. That's for me, except for some people like Bob Dylan, maybe Leonard Cohen, and so on.
Throughout the first half of the 80s, Mike Naumenko was practically banned in the Soviet Union. Despite the fact that his albums were illegally distributed on reels and cassettes in millions of copies, he had no access to the professional stage and therefore no income. Mike was very poor, and he had to give home concerts alone with a guitar in the apartments of his friends in Leningrad and Moscow. Despite this, he felt like a rock star, and his numerous fans saw him as a rock star too.
Здесь нас никто не любит, и мы не любим их. Все ездят на метро, ну, а мы не из таких. Ага, мы берем мотор, хотя в кармане голяк, и мы теряем свой портвейн, мы пьем чужой коньяк. Я не люблю Таганку, ненавижу Арбат. Еще по одной, и пора назад.
As far as I know, if Moscow is a bit like New York, Leningrad is more like Washington.
San Francisco.
Or San Francisco, maybe. I've never been in San Francisco. Moscow is too large, too fast city, too nervous city. Always running everywhere. They cannot walk. They're all running. Street hassles always, and they've got the other kind of people there. Leningrad is more quiet city. They call Moscow industrial center and Leningrad cultural center. People have more culture in Leningrad. We don't hurry everywhere. We've got a small city. Я сторож. I'm working, I think, 6 years. They pay me for my work.
What kind of work?
Сторож, как watchman. Night watchman, yeah. So I've got a lot of free time.
For your music.
Я посмотрел
Главные часы было 10:07, тебе уже 18. Мне всего 37, рок-н-ролл танцуют все кругом. Мы прыгали, вертелись и кружились так, что пол ходил ходуном.
In the second half of the 80s, with the advent of perestroika and glasnost, Mike and Zoo Park finally began touring all over the country, and were one of the most recognized and loved bands from the Leningrad Rock Club. The state record label Melodia released a Zoo Park disc. Mike no longer had to work as a night watchman.
I haven't heard too many new bands, but the ones I heard, well, I'm an old man, you know. I didn't like them too much. Maybe it's new music. They play for boys and girls who are 17, 16. You know, maybe they like it. They like it fine. But I prefer the old music. I like the 60s very much. Now big beat, rock and roll, and that kind of stuff. They like electropop. I don't blame that for them. Each generation must have their music, their own music. It's okay. But I don't like too many new bands.
In the late 80s, Mike's fire for life began to fade. New songs were almost never written, poorly organized tours were very tiring, and problems with his family and health began. Mike started to refuse concerts and just drank a lot with friends and fans who constantly came to visit him.
Я пришел в бар, там принимали товар, но я сказал бармену, у меня в душе пожар. Налей мне рому с пепси-колы, рому с пепси-колы, рому пепси-колу, это все, что нужно. Звезде рок-н-ролла. Эх, раз еще, много-много раз моя душа полна любви, а желудок полон вас. О, рому пепси-колы, Рома Пепси-кола, Рома Пепси-кола, это все, что нужно. Звезде рок-н-ролла, гитара.
To become a millionaire. Well, to be able to play, to record our music, to go to some cities where we were never been, to screen some films, some clips. Well, but the point, the first thing is to play good music, to do it well. As for, I think it is for all bands to do what they want to do, to have a chance to do what they want to do, and to be understood.
Despite the millions of copies of his records sold, Mike never became a millionaire. But he starred in a movie, recorded music for it, and made several music videos. On August 27th, 1991, 5 years after this interview, Mike was walking home on the street when he fell and hit his head. He reached home and died. He was only 36. Thus ended the earthly story of Mike Naumenko, a rock star, a musician for musicians, a poet, a translator, a music lover, and simply an intelligent person from a city that no longer exists. But real rock stars never die. They just stop releasing new albums. Mike's music is still alive today. You can hear it on the streets, on computer speakers, and TV and cinema screens.
Каждый день ты просыпаешься с мыслью, а не последний ли это день? Ты чувствуешь себя так, будто у тебя на спине татуировка, мишень. И ты задаешь себе старый вопрос, ну и как будем дальше жить? И ты сам себе отвечаешь, все это глупости, их нужно забыть. Каждый день это меткий выстрел, это выстрел в спину, это выстрел в упор. За все эти годы можно было привыкнуть, но ты не привык до сих пор. Каждый день это меткий выстрел и выверен прицелоствор.